Evening all, I'd like to welcome everybody to the duck blind, or the mock-up of the duck blind. So what I decided, since it's been raining out the last 2 days and I can't work outside, that I'd start making a mock-up of the duck blind and start sketching everything out on these boxes that are going off recycling. So what we have on the floor here is we have our chairs sitting in this area. The back of the box is coming up here. This right about here is 55 inches. This is right about where the top of my head comes at when I sit underneath it. We're then going to slope upwards for the roof. It'll be about 28 inches long. We'll go for 59 inches high when we get to the top of the roof. The front wall, the outside will be 48 inches from the back wall. And then we're going to put 6-inch wide shelving down the front here to put various things on when you're hunting, like shells and coffee mugs and all snacks and stuff like that you don't want all over the floor. And then on top here we're going to have an attachment. I saw a guy by the name of Tony Toy, who used to guide out on Pool 9 on the Mississippi. On his boat he had an all welded aluminum blind, and on the top here he had a couple of bolts sticking out with wing nuts, and he had this stuff right here, which is a synthetic broom material that's rolled out in 5-foot sheets. I got this on clearance at Cabela's. And what he did, let's use this as the roof line here, is he put it down, put the bolts through like this, cinch it down. I think he had a piece of aluminum plate on the back here, a thin aluminum plate to hold it in place. And then the roof would be at an angle. I'll get this at an angle, so that'd be up in the air like this. It's all doubled over right now, so it's really thick. Let's unroll it a little bit. And then what you end up with is this real stringy, strung out material that's real easy to push through. So when you're sitting underneath, you just stand up right through it, and being that it's synthetic and plastic, it holds up to a lot of abuse over time. And all you have to do is just spray it a little bit of camo. So that will be, that's what will be coming up off the line here. And it should end just at the edge here. We'll have a little bit of grass up here. This will be 48 inches high, which when you're sitting comes to just about, I don't know, about a little bit higher than heart height on me. So when I lean forward and down a little bit, I can get my nose right on that rail, so when I'm calling, I'll be able to look out and be completely guarded by the side of the blind without having to hunch down too far. And it's still low enough that when I stand up, it's hitting me right about belly, a little bit above belly button height, so I can easily swing the gun when I'm standing. So that is the basic design we're going with. Then I measured it out, and with chairs spaced about this far apart, I can easily get 4 chairs with about, I think about 8 inches on the end over here between the walls. So that would be across a 9-foot area. So I can fit 4 hunters easily in 9 feet, so that way I can keep the blind a little bit more compact. And while we're on this topic of the blind and building, okay, the marker's right there. Get the cap turned around. So right now the boat is basically built like this. The bow section's out here, stern's back here. I just put that little bumped up area back here so I can hook the motor on. And when I was looking at the boat I'm basing this off of, the production boat, I noticed one thing. They have a motor bracket that comes out like this. And I figured I don't need no motor bracket, I don't need all that extra stuff hanging off the back. Until I went and looked at my mud motor. From the pivot point here, where it mounts on the mud motor, and you have the engine up here like this, and it goes out here to the propeller. Stupid propeller look. But then the handle comes out and does one of these numbers for steering. From here to here, that is 61 inches on my boat. So if I would mount this on the back here, I would lose the entire 5 feet of the back of the boat, which then that would push, if I put the 9-foot blind on, that means the front of the blind would go right up against where the bow starts rising up, and that'd leave only a 2-foot deck here on the front. So that'd look a little odd with 5 feet back here and 2 feet on the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this in the back here, and I'm going to make a motor bracket. Not that sure exactly how yet, but I'm going to make one. It's going to go back about 24 inches, and that way it'll move this back 2 feet and this back 2 feet. So then we'll have, I'm going to do math in my head. We'll have about 36 inches back here. Yeah, roughly. With a little bit of the extra space, so I have clearance for the handle, will probably be closer to 40. So we'll have 40 inches back here, 9 feet of blind, and then in the front here, we'll have, okay, doing math again. So 3 feet 4 inches, 9 feet. That's 12 feet 4 inches. So then whatever comes out to 16 feet. So it'll be about 3 feet 8 inches on the front of the boat here. And the blind will be right here in the center. And then we'll have about 16-inch walkway on both sides. And this boat will only be about a little over 7 feet wide at the top, as opposed to 8 feet wide on the one I'm basing it off of. And the one I'm basing it off of was 7 feet wide on the bottom, and I'm only 6 feet wide on the bottom. Reasons for that? Called a trailer. That's what the trailer is I have, so I'm making the boat fit the trailer. That's about all I have for tonight. I'm going to get this all actually sketched up on real paper and some graph paper to start figuring out some dimensions of the parts. What I'm planning on doing is I'm going to make this all out of here. I believe here and here I'll probably make out of 1/2-inch plywood. This piece, and then well, it's not going to be a vertical piece in here, it'll just be the shelving pieces. Shelving pieces I'll probably make out of 1/2-inch or 3/4-inch plywood. This little piece right here, 1/4-inch plywood. This guy, 1/4-inch plywood. And I'll put some supports that are going to go in like this. And I'm either going to make those out of 1x2s, or I might take some of the 3/4-inch plywood and cut it so that when you look at it at the end, the plies will be going this way, and then your 1/4-inch roof piece will be up here like that. So I think that will give enough strength for the roof. If not, I'll just do, like I said, 1x2s, and then I'll run down the front end here, I'll run a 2x4 header the full length of the boat down the front of the blind, so that way when I mount the plastic grass overhang on, it has something substantial to hold on to, and that will also give some support. On the ends here, I'm going to make a solid end down to here, and probably go about 36 inches across here, and this will be a door, but the door is going to be 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches off the deck here where it opens, and this will be sealed all the way around. So if any water would come over, the boat would start digging in the water and plowing under. The water would have to get up and over this door, and the door is going to swing out, so there'll be a door stop here, so if the water comes into it, it'd have to cave in the entire door before any water will get inside the blind. And I'll do the same thing on the other side too. So that way it adds a little bit of extra safety, so if you get water on the deck, it doesn't come in the boat, in the blind with you. I think that's about all I got for tonight. Time to get to sketching.